Season 2 of Small Town Spotlight, sponsored by Charlie Clark Auto Group.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this series of Small Town Spotlight, coming to you live from Columbus, New Mexico. That's about 70 miles west of El Paso. And let me just tell you, we are in just the most beautiful boutique hotel, right, Oriana?
Yes, we are at Los Milagros Boutique Hotel right here in the village of Columbus, New Mexico, like you said, Monica. And basically, this town is filled with so much history, and as you've been hearing throughout our newscast, we interviewed the owner of the Pink Store over in Las Palomas, Mexico, and we spoke to the mayor,
Yes.
Mayor Skinner, as well.
Mm-hmm. And I just got to eat the most delicious burger, guys, and that is from that awesome
Borderland
cafe.
Mm-hmm. She had the Pancho Villa burger, a name that you're going to be hearing quite often in this newscast. As I was telling you, Monica, this town has so much history, and well, in 1916, the town was raided by Pancho Villa. Mm-hmm. He was a Mexican general, and they raided the town one night, and basically it was during the Mexican Revolution, and more than a dozen Americans were killed during this raid, and the center of the town right here where we're standing was burned down. So then the next day, the president launched an expedition to find Villa, even though he had fled into the mountains of Mexico, pretty much. And they were looking for him for, guess how long?
How long?
6 months.
What?
Do you think they found him?
No.
No, they did not. They didn't find him, so keep in mind, this was in 1916, and this is the first time that they used modern warfare, like such as trucks and airplanes. The U.S. Army was using all this sorts of new technology. You know, they were no longer using horses or anything like that.
Wow,
so
that's incredible, Oriana. I am learning so much. Thank you for that history lesson. And you know who else loves history so much?
Robert Bettis.
There we go. Let's go ahead and send it over to him. Hey, Robert.
I'm live in Columbus, New Mexico, atop Coots Hill, the highest point in Columbus. And I want to point out some things here from this fantastic view. In fact, where I'm standing is exactly where General Pershing was standing when they decided that they need to pay Pancho Villa back for that incursion in 1916. Over here you can see the beautiful town of Columbus. Wind-wise, well, it's been a gusty day, but we knew it would be a windy day today. Winds have been peaking at about 32 miles per hour on the east side, and those winds will stay fairly steady, gusting right there on the eastern slopes, and they're going to be back again tomorrow. The difference tomorrow, we start to warm up, 77 for our Thursday with gusty winds. We'll talk about a beautiful Friday and a terrible Sunday with gusting, howling winds, mud balls with drops, and blowing dust everywhere. Coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to have your full forecast, and we're going to go into that building right there at the Pancho Villa State Park of New Mexico to see some true treasures. All coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you, Robert. That is so cool. I can't wait to see everything. And I will tell you this, Oriana. So when I heard we were coming to Columbus, I was just like, you know what? We should dress in our Mexican attire. So I'm ready to go. And then we come to this beautiful boutique hotel called Los Milagros Hotel, which means miracles.
Exactly.
And there is so much, I want to say, Mexican decor. It is just beautiful.
Yeah, it is, Monica. And Major Skinner, who is the owner of this hotel, was telling me that all the things inside here were brought over from Mexico because he wants to give people the authentic Mexican experience. Yeah. Exactly. And this hotel has been around for approximately 30 years.
Wow.
It was actually started by his sister, but let me just stop talking and just take a look at what he had to say, because we did interview him. So check it out.
Because of the border and east-west traffic, we stay pretty busy.
This is Philip Skinner, the owner of Los Milagros Boutique Hotel.
I think the way we've decorated, the way we've designed it, the way we treat people, people feel like they're staying at their uncle's house.
He tells me he wanted to give tourists a taste of Mexico during their stay.
When people come to the border, they want the Mexican experience. They want the Mexico experience. So we're going to go Mexican colonial.
Saying people from all over the country make their way over to Columbus so they can get dental care over in Mexico.
What I call dental tourism. People will come from Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and they'll spend the night with me. They have their dentist appointment the next day. Price difference between Mexico and the US is huge.
So naturally, I crossed over to Mexico to see what people had to say about their dental care experience.
It's affordable and very professional and clean, and it's a good job.
If you're a history buff, then this is the place to be at.
When the raid occurred in 1916, this was the downtown area. Now this building is only 35 years old, so it's not so old. But there was another building like a store sitting here on this place and on this site, and the train station was here. There was a commercial hotel. It was burned down during the raid, and so this was the downtown area of Columbus. So.
And there's still a lot we want to get to, but of course, we do want to get to the news of the day.
That's right. Let's go ahead and send it over to our Skylar Soto in the studio to give us that update while I go look for a jacket. Hey there, Skylar.
Hey there, ladies. Now to our top stories today. Senate Bill 4, the controversial immigration law allowing police to arrest migrants who cross illegally, is back on hold once again. The case was kicked back to the appeals court, all this just hours after the Supreme Court gave the green light for Texas to start enforcing the law. Today, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office Patrol Commander Ryan Urieta telling KTSM their department will not be prioritizing the enforcement of Senate Bill 4. The commander also says the law will be problematic for the community. And as always, make sure to stay with KTSM and KTSM.com for the latest updates on this law. Well, new at 6, KTSM is learning that Santa Teresa Middle School in Sunland Park had to be placed on a secure status protocol this morning after a group of undocumented migrants entered the campus. The Gadsden Independent School District sending a statement in part, quote, a group of undocumented migrants entered the southern section of the campus, prompting the school to enact safety protocols to ensure the protection of staff and students, end quote. And El Paso's Jaguars Club has now permanently closed after the club and the El Paso County Attorney's Office have reached a settlement agreement in the lawsuit against the owners and operators. And as we've reported, the notorious strip club has been temporarily shut down last month after both the County Attorney's Office and the City of El Paso filed separate lawsuits against Jaguars for multiple violations of city ordinances and alleged criminal activity. The attorney's office says Jaguars will no longer operate at the location on Gateway West. However, if the owners choose to open a new business, it must have a license to serve alcohol and cannot be a sexually oriented business. Now, that was a look at your top stories for today. Now, let's send things back over to our team who is live from Columbus, New Mexico today for our small town spotlight. How's everything out there, ladies?
Thank you, Skylar. Everything's great. It is a little chilly, a little windy.
I told you.
Monica just got her jacket, literally.
Yeah.
But we continue with our Columbus coverage, and now I want to talk about the Railroad Depot Museum.
Yeah, so you were telling me, Oriana, that back in 1916, of course, the raid, right? The railroad was one of the main targets that night, and although the trackers or the tracks were pulled a while ago, it's the museum that was filled with collections of things that were recovered from that night. I can't believe that. Check it out.
Railroad was established here in the early 1900s for the purpose of transporting copper ore from the Bisbee area to the smelters in El Paso. Highway 9, it was the railroad, and the last train came through here in 1961, and they pulled up the tracks in 1965. Often I get asked why Pancho Villa raided Columbus. the association with the Ravel brothers. They were the mercantile proprietors at the time of the raid. Pancho Villa got supplies and guns and ammunition from them, and apparently they paid for it and got bad ammo.
During the height of the raid, during the peak of the gunfire, this vehicle here belonged to the Frost family. Villistas fired upon their vehicle. You can tell by the bullet holes inside the car. The husband was actually shot in the back 3 times. They had to change positions in the vehicle, so Archibald had to teach his wife how to operate the vehicle while under fire heading north to Deming, with the baby bouncing in the back seat, as the story goes. They did make it to Deming. It was so close to his spine, the doctors left it, so until the day he died, he had a bullet in his back from Villistas firing upon their vehicle.
Susie Parks, she had stayed over that night, was doing some work, and then when the raid started happening, they had cut wires on some of the main communications. So she had figured out how to get word to Deming, to get the army from Deming down here.
That is so interesting. And so what is very important for you guys to understand is that from Columbus, it's about 30 miles to Deming. Mm-hmm. And so apparently she was talking about how she ended up going to Deming to ask for help. Imagine traveling 30 miles to get to Deming.
To ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And also just the story of him driving, or his wife driving with the car on fire and the baby bouncing in the back, and just that they never got the bullet out. So it's very, very cool. And also the clock, I think she mentioned it in the pack. Mm-hmm. The clock, I think, I'm not sure if it's in this museum or in
Deming? No.
Yeah, in another part of New Mexico. But
okay.
It's very, like I said, there's a lot of history to unpack here, and we will continue with many more things. But for now, we're going to go ahead to a brief break. So,
all right, don't go anywhere, guys. We are live from Columbus, New Mexico. We'll be right back.
Weather Authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, it's the Charlie Clark Small Town Spotlight. Okay, my friends, Bobby Bone will be with us next week. He's taken a week off, but he's here in spirit. Now, this might not be a Charlie Clark Nissan, brand new with leather seats, but it is a 1915 Jeffrey. It's 4-wheel drive. It's a metallic tank, basically the forerunner of the tank. It was the first armored vehicle used in military operation ever. That's just one of the treasures here at the Pancho Villa State Park. Let's talk weather, and then I can't wait to show you what's inside. Here comes your exclusive 9-day forecast. Now, we can expect tomorrow to be also very windy. Wind gusts will come in actually a little stronger than today. Winds have been gusting to about 32 miles per hour on the eastern slopes and will remain windy overnight tonight. Tomorrow, high temperature 77. We could see a little bit of a dusty haze late day. And then you want a perfect day? Oh, we've got it for you. Friday will be sunshine and 80 degrees with light winds. Enjoy it because the weekend rolls around and it is going to get windy. By late Saturday afternoon, winds will be approaching 40 miles per hour with a high temperature of 84 degrees. And then on Sunday, all heck breaks loose. A powerful storm system moves in. We'll see blowing dust, a few drops of rain, and then a cold front hits us. High temperatures at this point will only be in the 50s on Monday, very chilly, and we'll start to rebound on temperatures after that. Joining me live here in the Pancho Villa State Park is Jonathan Horsley. He's the manager. Jonathan, pleasure, sir.
Same to you.
What a beautiful facility. So many people, they come to Columbus, they stop at the stop sign, they make a left turn, they head to Palomas, and they don't realize the treasure they're missing.
Exactly. We've been here since 1961, and a lot of people don't know that.
Incredible. Okay, now I'm not sure about these older cars, but these don't seem as though they're naturally produced in the factory right there. What's this?
So those will be bullet holes. So this is what we call the Frost car. These were civilians who tried to escape during the Pancho Villa raid.
Oh. So that day when they were being shot at, they got in this car, they threw the baby in the back here. The dad was shot?
Yep, 3 times in the back.
But he lived?
He survived.
Okay. This is an amazing place. Jonathan, I want to take us around the corner here. You're not going to believe some of the things they have. Of course, we've learned so much in Columbus. One, that General Pershing really was getting America ready for World War I with the operations against Pancho Villa. And they sent automated, basically armored cars down into Mexico to have a punitive assault on Pancho Villa. And this, oh my gosh, what is this?
So this is our JN-3 Jenny, nicknamed Biplane. During the punitive expedition, it was the first use by the U.S. Army of military aircraft. And that happened right here in Columbus.
All started here.
Yes, sir.
Fort Bliss, one of the biggest military installations in the world, and it all started with Pershing and the operations they did right here.
Right here in Columbus.
I love it. Jonathan, thank you. We'll talk to you again coming up. You stay with KTSM 9 News.
Now, KTSM 9 Sports with Colin Deaver. Sponsored by Glasheen Bias and Enderman Injury Lawyers.
The Derby Paso del Norte has always been played behind closed doors inside the Estadio Olímpico at Juárez until tonight. El Paso Locomotive FC and FC Juárez are siblings under the Mountain Star Sports Group umbrella, and the two prominent Borderland soccer franchises tonight, they have faced off in front of fans for the first time ever. Los Locos and Los Bravos have played in the lead up to the USL season multiple times in the last couple of years, but all of those games have been played behind closed doors due to COVID-19 as well as a variety of other factors. Tonight they'll face off in front of a sold-out Borderland crowd at Southwest University Park, a moment the clubs have been waiting a very long time for in an international friendly of sorts. For more on what should be a fantastic night of football, we send it over to KTSM 9 sports reporter Sam Guzman live at Southwest University Park.
Hey Colin, we are getting quite the show with both of the Borderlands professional soccer clubs going head-to-head tonight for the first Derby Paso del Norte. Now remember, this is a friendly match. It's not a match officiated by an official governing body, so tonight's results, whatever that comes to be, won't count against either team's record, but that has not stopped either of these clubs from wanting to get the win tonight. They'll be playing for club pride and for bragging rights, but both clubs have thought about how they'll be approaching this friendly, considering they're both currently in season for their respective leagues. This will be the Locos' fourth contest in less than 2 weeks. As for FC Juárez, they're 11 games into its Clausura season, still searching for its first win.
Our objective is, as in any game, is to try to win a game, and but we got to be smart coming off of the 3 games that we came on. The bodies are tired, as they should be. It is a friendly, but it's going to be a great spectacle, and we just want to go out there and put on a good show.
There's going to be a lot of people. It will be a match to gain confidence from the players who haven't played, like the ones who have. I believe it is a match to enjoy, to have a good time, and in the end, all victories, even through friendlies, are positive.
Now, again, both clubs have hinted that they're going to be playing more of their younger guys, more of the club guys, so we can be seeing some possible future stars on the pitch for both of these clubs as they're going to play this friendly. But again, both teams resume league play on Saturday, but for right now they're going to enjoy the friendly match they have here at Southwest University Park. The El Paso Locomotive organization announcing earlier today that Southwest University Park is expected to be sold out, and it's going to be quite the atmosphere. We've already got fans packing into the seats here for this friendly match, so it's going to be an electric night. Of course, we'll have more coverage tonight at 10, but for right now, Colin, I'll send things back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Sam. Now to high school athletics. Evan Minjades was maybe the best quarterback in El Paso this past fall as he led Eastwood to the District 1 6A championship. Today, Minjades signed his way to the Division I level. Now he is headed to Army West Point, where he says he fits the Black Knights offense perfectly as a dual threat quarterback. Now get this, he and his backup QB, Darian Diaz, are both going to the next level. A very cool occurrence. Diaz is heading to Crown College in Minnesota. For Minjades, he's excited to get the chance to play at the Division I level, a dream of his since he was a little kid.
One of the first ones that really gave me the opportunity. It was a big thing when Coach Viti, he came out to my house. He flew all the way, right after the Army-Navy game, he flew all the way out to El Paso. He ate food with me and my family, and he offered me then and there, and it was just a great opportunity I really could not pass up on.
Minhales threw for over 3,000 and rushed for over 1,000 yards as a senior. He and Diaz were 2 of 8 total signees at Eastwood today across 3 sports. Well, from one high school star quarterback to another, Del Valle Jr. to be Jake Fetty is the next rising star in the Sun City. He was rated as a 4-star recruit today by On3 Sports, one of the main recruiting services in the entire country. Fetty currently holds offers from multiple Big 12 programs, including Texas Tech. And on the high school hardwood now, Chapin's dynamic duo of senior Brandon Himes and junior 6'10" center Jaden Leverett were both named to the TABC Hoops Class 5A All-State team today. Himes and Leverett were huge parts of the Huskies' back-to-back trips to the Elite Eight the past couple of years, and both averaged over 14 points per game for the Huskies during the 2023-24 campaign. Well, we talked about high school quarterbacks just a moment ago. Now it's time to do the same thing at the collegiate level. UTEP started spring practices. On Monday, they held workout number 2 this morning in year 1 under Scotty Walden. Finding a starting quarterback in Walden's new system is high on the list of priorities. Now, there's going to be a few different options for the Miners to mull over. Last year's starter, Cade McConnell, will likely get first crack at things, as will Miners backup Jake McNamara. He was also here under Dana Dimmel. Making the move with Walden from Austin Peay was Skylar Locklear, who also figures to factor in. It's way too early to make a call right now, but Walden thinks the competition will start to iron itself out by the end of spring.
I'll get to evaluate them better when they're playing more free. Hard to evaluate, I think, these first few practices because it's all so new, but once we get past it, you'll start to see some guys separate, and then we'll divvy out the reps based on who's separating.
We're friends, but we know that we're competing for the job. So it's going to be about making each other better. You know, going out there and then trying to be as detail-oriented as you can as a quarterback, being a leader.
I look for the Miners to wait until the fall to really make a choice at quarterback, but if someone separates before then, they will not hesitate to jump on in. So a big night of athletics here in the Borderland. Cannot wait for the Derby del Paso Norte, there you go, between El Paso Locomotive and FC Juarez. For now, we're going to send it back out to Columbus, New Mexico for the rest of our Small Town Spotlight series.
Hey there, Colin. You know what? It's been so much fun, hasn't it been, Oriana?
It has.
The only thing is that it is so cold. So right now I looked at the thermometer, 60 degrees, but with this breeze, it feels a lot more like we're in the 50s. But it's okay. We have a lot more to share with you guys in our next half hour.
Exactly. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, to this special edition of KTSM 9 News at 6. We are live on location tonight from Columbus, New Mexico, an incorporated village in Luna County. It's a part of our Small Town Spotlight series, all made possible by Charlie Clark Nissan. I'm Monica Cortez, and this is so cool to be part of the third. Is this the third or the fourth already?
This is the 3rd episode already.
This is the 3rd, and this has been such a cool place, Oriana. Basically, she has been my tour guide this whole entire time.
And also, check out these really cool hats we just got. They're helping with the wind for sure.
And you know what? That's part of it where I'm just kind of a little disappointed because I wore this really cool Mexican blouse. It would go great with my hat, but it's just so cold.
Yeah.
It is so chilly. And you know what, Oriana? You were telling me, okay, so Columbus, New Mexico is a border town, and you got to cross the border the last time you came here.
I did, and this is just 3 miles from the Palomas border with Columbus. And let me just tell you, for when I travel, Monica, food is so important for me. I mean, for everybody, really. And I got to try some of the most amazing food right here in Columbus.
Really?
Yes.
Right.
Take a look. And after a long day of exploring the town, I'm gonna go inside here, Borderland Cafe, because they tell me that they have some of the most authentic Mexican food. Let's go check it out. All right, well, I am here with Adriana, who is the owner and the chef of Borderland Cafe. Adriana, tell me what this place means to you.
Well, it means a lot because I'm from Columbus, New Mexico, so I'm serving my whole community and trying to give them the best food that we can. You know, we make everything with love here, so we make a lot of green chili stuff. The stuff that we get is from Mexico, so we get a lot of cheese from Mexico, the tortillas, the meat, and we put a lot of love into everything that we do here.
How long has this place been here?
We almost 8 years.
Wow, is this family owned?
It is, so it's usually my daughter's here, my mom's here, so we do everything from scratch. All the sauces, all the chili, yeah.
All right, so tell me, what is your favorite dish?
The pancho.
Can I try some?
Of course.
All right,
yes.
let's go.
Let's go.
Vamos. So Adriana's about to teach us how to make the pancho burger with enchilada fries. Let's get to it.
Okay, so we got our 1/4 pounder right here. And this is our signature Pancho sauce. It was named after Pancho Villa.
What kind of cheese is this?
This is the Mennonite cheese. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and melt it.
Yeah. And here we are. Wow.
And we have our enchilada sauce. And then, of course, the Mennonite cheese. We all use the Mennonite cheese out here for enchiladas and quesadillas.
All right, well, moment of truth. Here I have the Pancho burger and the enchilada fries. Let's get to it. I'm speechless. This is incredible. Wow, so many flavors and just taste of everything. The cheese is incredible.
Yes.
Increíble. I give it a 10 out of 10.
And I have to tell you, Oriana, thank you so much for suggesting that burger because I tried it and it is delicious.
Yeah, we just walked over and I got the quesadillas.
Was it good?
It was amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
No, the food was truly incredible and just talking to her was so awesome as well. She's got so much energy and so much charisma and enthusiasm into what she does.
And you know what? You were telling me, well, we just saw actually, Robert also got to taste the food. Hey, Robert, how was that?
Monica and Oriana, okay, so William was still in high school. It was the summer of 2019, and we decided, yes, well, who doesn't want to walk to Columbus, New Mexico? But I actually did. And we broke it up into 8 or 9 different trips. We took 2 cars. We would drive 10 miles past where we stopped, park a car, turn around, come back, and then walk 10 miles to it. And it was a lot of fun. And really, I know every inch of El Paso all the way to Columbus. But now I get to enjoy the beautiful Pancho Villa park. It's a state park, and inside is an amazing facility. I'm going to show you a little bit more of that coming up in just a little bit. Let's talk winds. Gusty on the eastern slopes. The winds get a little bit stronger tomorrow, and we're going to get warmer. High temperature 77 degrees. Perfect Friday. We'll talk about strong winds this weekend in your main weather forecast. All coming up in just a little bit. Monica, Oriana?
Thank you, Robert. And yeah, you were telling us about that walk. I was so impressed. Yeah. And as we were driving, Robert did show us everywhere where he stopped and went. Mm-hmm. So big congratulations to you and your son for making that awesome trek. And you know what, Oriana? So in this week's episode of Small Town Spotlight, we're highlighting, obviously, the village, right, of Columbus. And everything is right here. And the border is right there. It's just such a beautiful town.
It truly is. And even speaking to Major Skinner, he told me so much about the history and also what the town has looked like over the last few years. You know, it's that closeness, like you mentioned, it's that closeness with Mexico that the village is known for. Columbus sits just 3 miles away from Palomas, Mexico, and it's had a relationship that, you know, it's had its historic ups and downs. But he tells me what makes this border village so unique is its remoteness. Unlike El Paso or other cities that sit on the border, Columbus lacks the social services like shelters or large churches that help migrants, making it less lucrative for migrants to cross through here.
I'd say it's a friendlier border and less congested. It's very easy to cross here, walk across and go to the dentist.
And although they haven't seen an influx of migrants, the less congested and easier to cross border drives tourists from the U.S. into Palomas for their dental tourism, known for being cheaper than here in the United States, and their pharmacy stores as well, making it easier to buy antibiotics and other medicines to bring into the United States.
That is so interesting. And I did see a lot of brochures at the front of the hotel where it shows you about the dentistry options that you have here.
Exactly. And he was even telling me a very interesting story. So he had a client come and stay here from Dallas. He was being quoted for dental work like $40,000.
Oh my God.
And he ended up getting it done just across the border for $8,000.
Wow, so that is incredible.
Now I know where
so cool stories.
I'm going to get my dental work done for sure.
All right, guys. Well, we have a lot more to share with you right after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is KTSM 9 News at 6.
Authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
Pancho Villa didn't know it, but his little incursion really changed the United States military forever, as I'm going to demonstrate here at the Pancho Villa Museum, basically inside the state park right here in Columbus, New Mexico. For example, this is a 1916 Dodge touring car. And if you were an officer in the Army, well, that's how you rode around once the Army started to modernize. And one thing that Pancho Villa did was it changed the game on technology. And the testing ground was right here in this little town of Columbus, New Mexico. Here comes your exclusive 9-day forecast. Now, tomorrow, we're still going to have to deal with the gusty winds. Those winds will be coming in from the west and northwest and anywhere from 15 to 40 miles per hour. Could we see a little bit of a dusty haze by late in the day? Yes, we could. But I've got some great news, and that great news is called Friday. Sunshine and 80 degrees light winds. What a beautiful day it shall be. Saturday will be warm, 84, partly cloudy. By the afternoon, the winds are going to begin to become a little bit gusty. On Sunday, that's the bad day. We've got a powerful low-pressure system coming in. Expect those winds to peak at close to 50 miles per hour, blowing dust, cloudy skies, rain showers as well on that day. A cold front comes in on Monday, and that's going to take us into the 50s that day. Slowly, those winds will start to die down as we cruise into the work week ahead, and we're also going to warm up. Now, continuing our tour of the Pancho Villa New Mexico State Park is Jonathan Horsley. Jonathan, nice to see you again.
Same to you.
Boy, you got us with that biplane. That was the first time they used aircraft in combat right here.
Right here and across the border in Mexico.
Okay, so Old Army. Tell us about that.
Old Army. So prior to the events that happened here, most of the military transportation and things like that were done with horse and buggy, or mule and buggy, per se.
Okay, not a fast way to move around.
No, but they were efficient and they worked.
The horses always woke up when,
exactly.
when you told them to. Okay, now the new Army, you've got, of course, this museum has incredible pieces here. This is a huge piece of equipment. What is that thing?
So this is simply just called the four-wheel drive truck. These were actually made in Wisconsin, and this was kind of like the new. So this was a engine, no more horse and buggy. Right. Of course, this one's mired in mud, as you see it here, because it was a test. These were all used as a prototype.
So basically, Pancho Villa, what he did was he started the complete mechanization of the United States Armed Forces.
Inadvertently, yes.
Inadvertently, yes, and they got tested on the punitive exploration down in Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Unbelievable. All right here in Columbus, New Mexico. Well, you stay with our small town spotlight. More to come on KTSA.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. And as we're getting ready to wrap up this third episode of Small Town Spotlight, Monica, there's one more thing that we have to talk about.
I know, you were telling me it's the Pancho Villa Park that is located right here in Columbus, New Mexico.
Yes.
And we got to really dive into the park's history and why they named it after Pancho Villa. Check it out.
They're like, why is there a state park here? Why is it named Pancho Villa? Well, we want people to come here and ask that question so we can tell them why. Here in Columbus, there was an encampment called Camp Columbus, and that camp was here, placed here by Woodrow Wilson, president of the time, due to the Mexican Revolution raging south of the border. They were trying to figure out who's going to control Mexico, who's going to be president. When it all came down to the end, it came down to Carranza and Pancho Villa. And the U.S. government, of course, backed Carranza, which upset Pancho Villa. The raid started about 4 o'clock in the morning, a little after 4 o'clock in the morning on March 9th, 1916. The locals were, of course, calling for retribution. And so they authorized this punitive expedition led by John Blackjack Pershing. We went from a camp of 350 soldiers to a camp of 10,000 soldiers. Trucks, like the one behind us here, the four-wheel drive, were brought out and they mounted an expedition. 2 columns went south. 1 column of 5,000 soldiers here in Columbus went south. There were 5,000 troops walking in a line into Mexico. And then the second group was to our west, about 45, 50 miles in Hachita. Another column headed south. And the main goal was to hunt down Pancho Villa and to try and keep the peace. We were never able to find Pancho Villa. The big outcome for it were these trucks and these airplanes. The punitive expedition was one of the first uses of the U.S. Army of a mechanized transportation, especially of the Jenny biplane behind me. It was the first use of this new technology. You want to say old Army to new Army. That was the big takeaway of a positive of the punitive expedition. And without this, we wouldn't have had as much success as we did in World War I.
That is so cool. Sorry, as I was telling you earlier, Monica, it was really the first time that they were changing over. You know, they used, like he mentioned, trucks and airplanes, and this was the first time. So it was really like very, very cool. And another thing that isn't mentioned in the package is that there's a little hillside called Coots Hill, and you get a really nice lookout at Mexico, and it's just a very beautiful, beautiful place.
Wow,
and
that is awesome. And okay, well, get this. We just got a very special guest, Jonathan. And real quickly, Alex, she's our producer. How much time do we have with our guest? That way we can ask you all those important questions. Okay, well, real quick, a minute. So we're going to get real quickly through this. Tell us a little bit more about this park. Do we need to get any kind of tickets to come through, or how does that work?
So we just have a standard day use fee. It's standard across all parks. It's $5 a car.
That's awesome. And what is the one thing that people must visit when they come to the park?
They have to visit our exhibit hall. It's probably the easiest place to learn the history and to see the exhibits.
And camping is allowed, correct?
Camping is allowed. We have a 65-site campground as well.
From which seasons to which seasons?
We're open 365 all year long.
All right, well, that's great.
That's awesome. What is that? I was looking at that. What's Camp Furlong Day?
So Camp Furlong Day happens the Saturday closest to the raid anniversary, and it's a big party here in town. We call it the Fiesta de Amistad. It's a culmination of 3 events in one, but for our event, Camp Furlong Day, it's at the park. We have academic speakers, museum tours, things like that.
Oh man, that is incredible. And just so you guys know, he literally just ran here. So thank you so much for doing that. All right, guys, we will be back in just a little bit.
Here's the last look at the forecast. Now, tomorrow it's going to be windy again. In fact, tomorrow I think the winds will be a little bit stronger, gusting to about 40 miles per hour right on the eastern slopes. A little dusty haze, 77 as we warm up. You want a perfect day, that's going to be Friday with a high temperature of 80 degrees. Saturday will be windy by the afternoon, but very warm at 84. And then Sunday, there's no pretty way to describe Sunday other than to say it will be cold, it will be gusty, it will be dusty, we will have mud balls, we will have it all. And my optimistic high at this point is 68 degrees as we plummet into the 50s for Monday. So chilly weather is not done with us yet, but we will rebound quickly on that.
But I will tell you this, Robert, you have put in a ticket to the weather gods because next Wednesday looks incredible.
Oh, that's true. I love it. I faxed in an order to the weather gods. Yes, very good. I'm going to use that again. Well, I really loved it. I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a
so
lot.
much.
I did not realize Little Columbus, New Mexico was the turning point of the U.S. military. It really was. And just how much they did here, and poor Pancho Villa, he had no idea what he had unlocked with that.
It was so incredible. I love this place. I will come back definitely next time.
I will come back to eat and then cross over to the Pink Store because that was my favorite part.
Yes. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this Small Time Spotlight series. We'll be back tonight at 10.